Hi guys, it's Drew here, and I'm here to do day 7 of 7 Days of Seeds, or Seeds of Creation, which was a 7-day journey that I was doing to start working with the astral realm, dreaming, and my guide slash character. So this is a little bit of a wrap up of my experience through the week. And I've got a few cards. Like I said, it's the last day, and I ended it with the Lovers, which could not be more apt. So I used the Tower of the She all the way through this week, this process. And my aim was to be able to connect with one guide, to bring that guide forward. And I already had experience with a particular guide before then. And so I got this inspiration after having that experience with the guide that I wanted to interconnect all the 3 layers of work that I had been doing and have been doing over the past probably month or two, really, within the Dreaming Astral Land story. I've come back to a novel that I am working heavily on and have been working on for about 2 years, so not really coming back to it, just sort of finding a new doorway into it. And through the astral experiences that I've been having before I started the Seed of Creation rather, I was world building and creating and putting markers in place to create a world in which my spirit guides could come to, my characters could come to, I could go to for different things, and I'm still working on that. What I did find funny was that I started this at the sort of low end of my cycle, so the full moon area, sort of past then ish, and the waning moon. So that was a really interesting project to sustain, because I also wanted to see whether I could sustain a project in slow motion, or slow progress in that amount of time, when I knew that it wasn't going to be my highest peak of creativity. And I've had some of the most beautiful, scary, not nightmare scary, just, soul ricocheting, like big realizations from doing this exercise. And I'm going to tell you guys, I didn't do much in the way of really creating much in the astral. I tended to stick with one specific place, which was the forest, because Dallah revealed himself to be a forest mage. He used a mage specifically, so basically a forest magician. And it was just a wonderful week. I met his parents, had some really big realizations in terms of where I fit. I had some very synchronistic moments too. I mentioned before in the Talismans video how Danu gave me a necklace or jewel and sort of pushed it near my heart, and it was emerald, and the emerald relates to Morrigan as well, and I found that just to be a really, really powerful experience, because I went to the supermarket or plaza the next day, and they had a store that was selling jewellery, and I saw a piece that really replicated and resonated with that energy, and it was calling to me, and it looked like a fairy necklace. And so another thing that has been fantastic this week with this Seeds of Creation, especially dreaming and working with this guide, has been tapping into the Fae energy, because I was using 2 Fae decks, really, fairy decks. We've got the She, and I was using the Hidden Realms, so I was visiting the Hidden Realms too. So the joining of this, the joining of those 2 energies feels like it was successful. There were times when I thought that I wouldn't finish the week because there were 2 days, like 5 and 6, which I made a video about yesterday, which were very waning standstill days. And yet on those days, I chose those days to journal to him. And one of my biggest goals, of course, was to simply start writing to him. It took me a few days to get really into the flow of connecting with a specific guide in a journal. Not that I haven't done it before, because I used to write to Anne Frank and book characters and things like that all the time. So it was another experience sinking back into something that I really enjoyed doing as a child and teen, in a way that I connected with characters and really to my spirituality, I guess, finding voices and finding connections inside different realms. And so the fairy energy was me confronting that childhood fear head on. And, interwoven between that was the sort of pixie ET vibes that were coming off the cards. And that again was a healing experience, looking at some of the things that really scared me about that. Of course, I'm not all the way there. And I do feel like I'm starting to get to the point where I'm really happy to be working with the Fae energy. It seems like it was a natural progression, especially since Morgan Le Fay, Morrigan has some fairy energy in her as well, and it just seemed like, the next layer of getting to know Morrigan as well and understanding what her purpose is, because she does often stay on the sidelines and watch and sort of just help me in the right direction, because she's very much, for me personally, about being self-reliant and taking action and really facing those things that scare me, because I do have that warrior energy within me. It was also a fantastic way to understand my own masculinity and to understand how Dallah has feminine energy within him. Having a couple of days, I think that was 2 days during this week, where I drew a female card to understand his feminine aspect, which was really weird, because the day that I drew the feminine card was the day that he revealed part of himself to be Dallah, the headless knight. So, with the energy of his mother, Morrigan, and he revealed himself to be part son of Morrigan. So, got some weird, like, energy going on there. In terms of, like, labels, because I still consider myself to be the daughter of Morrigan, so. But, as a pagan, you do take on the different roles of, lover, friend, warrior, partner, guide. And that's another thing too, that I am developing a really strong relationship with Dallah and all his many facets. And I think that having that experience of having a whole week dedicated to looking at the different facets of him really made me look at the different facets of myself, and how I sort of fear some of them, and how long it takes me to understand that I have those inside of me, and really that they're just a mirror. So, for example, the lover part of it was conflicting for me, because I have been experiencing a grief, and I have experienced violence, and I have experienced loss and loss of power and empowerment due to situations and experiences in my life. That's my phone. And so having that experience of turning to the forest and meeting Dallah, and him revealing himself as a healer in that sense, to help me to recover and understand and really work through my spiritual relationship with the masculine and men in general, has been a really fantastic help with that. And I'm definitely continuing my experience. So really, what did I do? I created the world. And whether you want to believe, or whether I sort of feel like, I'm a co-creator, so whether I created that world myself in my head to begin with, or it was already there, sometimes I don't think it matters. Visiting this other world and being, in and out of that this week has been really great for teaching me how to connect image, connect feeling, connect archetypes, connect keywords, and just to simply meditate. This is another thing that I have really enjoyed, is simply meditating this week. Meditating and then writing, and then seeing where the synchronicities from the astral realm have played out in my life. So it's another exercise as well for me, because I am creating an entire planet and other planets in my creative work. So it's a great exercise to stretch that capacity to be able to really extend the creativity to those parts of myself that I do find challenging, in terms of creating locations, creating scenes, following that thread, and really trusting the creative process as well. Because the times that I went into meditation thinking that I kind of knew where I wanted things to go were the times that I really got put on my ass, to be honest. So it was like, you don't really have that much control, but you do have control at the same time. So it was a lesson in flexibility, a lesson in humor as well. There was a lot of humorous moments in the forest, and a lot of intimate moments where I felt like I was definitely being supported by his family and my family, which really is my family as well, in that forest. So, and building that up, I feel like, progressively over some time, I definitely feel like I could write a story about him. As in, like, I feel like I could, listen to his life story, and we're going to share that anyway. And we're going to talk about that anyway. We're going to go there. But if I ever wanted to, really delve into that world, I'd love to expand on it. I think it'd be a brilliant practice. And he made it into my dreams sometimes, especially elements. The forest made it into my dream this week as a portal. I had a lot of more ET dreams again, with ships and time travel, and which seems to be sort of, I wouldn't say common for me now, but it's more intense because I think I'm working with that energy and understanding it. So my subconscious mind is helping me work through the stuff that I don't feel like I can work through when I'm awake. And I've been to a couple of different planets this week as well, in that regards, and having a guide to sort of send to me when I come back or when I'm already there, as a supportive network to experience these things, is really, really helpful as well. And so today was very much a crown chakra connection. It was connecting with that divine aspect and really wrapping that experience up. I still have a couple of things that we're working on together, and one of the things that I did want to ask for assistance was taking my novel and taking my story to the next level, and having someone that could support that journey inside and help me to do creative work on it, and to help me to do creative solutions, and to really just be what I believe a partner would be. I believe a best friend would be. I believe a support network would be, a spirit guide. And I offer him things too. Like, one of the things that I really loved doing this week was setting up a altar for him, specifically for him and his masculine energy. Also, although his dad did come through a bit and was telling me things as well, so it was really interesting to sort of set up an altar for him. And then his dad was like, you should listen to me too, because I'm here to support you as well. Which was nice, And I have the Morrigan, I have my feminine energy, and I have my altar for my moon, myself, my body, my magic, my sorcery, in the other space in my room. So it's been a really beautiful week for exploring that. And I do think, there are some ups and downs, and as always, when you're creating, you can't anticipate what's going to come up. I just did not anticipate some fear, some shock, some awakening moments, as I say, creative insights as well. And I'm glad I had this week. I'm glad I dedicated myself to this week. You know, I got some of the exercises that I suggested done, others I sort of brainstormed and planned to do in more extensive ways. I think I will do 7 days of Seeds of Creation again sometime. I don't know whether I would do it monthly, like have 1 week a month where I do dedicated work specifically for the Seeds of Creation and create a different guide or character or something like that. But I definitely want to do that next time with a specific character for a story. I think having a week dedicated to not a guide but a story character would be my next approach with this. So thank you guys for watching, and if you have followed along with me for this past week, thank you for watching and supporting me as well. I know it was a bit different to what I normally do, and sometimes I think I can be a bit teachy, so if my videos come across as like, you can do this, here's some ideas, they're merely that. They're just me sort of sharing some of my thoughts or some things that you could do if you wanted to go through the whole videos and do this as a sort of mini quote unquote workshop if you want. But whatever you like to do, I will talk to you all later, and thank you for watching. Bye.